going. Yeah. Okay, well, so this is following on from Cyberfest from last year. I did a project called That Bash, which was using mirrors to reflect squares, and I think it was a heart shape that we created with an 8x8 grid of little mirrors. What I wanted to test out was how an image would work. So I did a couple. I've upgraded the first one, and I've done another one as well. So the new one that I've done is this one here. This has a row of 3 rows of 10 little mirrors, and they're all angled slightly differently. In this image, when reflected and looked at a certain direction, you'll be able to see what is a pin number. It's not my pin number, I just say it's just 4 random numbers. But you have to look at it roughly about 20 centimetres height, up and 20 centimetres away, 30 centimetres away, and then you'll see those numbers come into view. So, and it's worked okay. Everybody can see the numbers. I did it in the style of a checkbook style font, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was quite legible. The other thing that I've done is I've joined some of these shapes together. So there are some decoy shapes in this image that don't get reflected in order to make it harder to make out what the number would be. So it's sort of trying to hide and create another level of cryptography or another kind of cipher in there as well visually. And it also makes quite an interesting image. So again, this is an experiment, see if it works, and it started to work quite well, so I was quite happy with this. And I think I'll carry this further. Again, probably carry it on next year as well. On over here. And then this one is based on the idea that I saw a thing going around on the internet, which is it was a viral tweet that went around asking people what their cat name was, what was the first pet that they had, etc. Lots of people were replying in fond memory of their first pet, not realising that this is often a security question. And so that detail was being gathered, and we were also talking with companies that were talking about how this data is harvested. So what I did was I took a picture of a cat, and it's reflected in 144 individual little mirrors. When you look at the image face on, obviously there's a picture of a cat which is in a negative. But all the brown splodges that just look like a random mess, when they're reflected back through those 144 little mirrors, do start to make the image of a cat. It's a little bit harder to make out because it's a little bit more precise, and there are a couple of overlaps in there, so it's not absolutely perfect. But when you do look at it, you do tend to pick out the more obvious details, like the eyes and the ears. The nose and the mouth are a little bit harder to do, but again, it's all part of the experiment, and it has started to work. So again, it's another one that I want to take forward and try and do another version of it and just experiment even more. So yeah, that's the general idea of what I was doing. It's been a really fun project again to work on. I love to work on the fact that it was something I'm developing from last year, and we'll take this further again.